I'm going.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Audit and Finance Committee for July 25th, 2024. It is now 6:33, and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Could you call the attendance, please?
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham?
Present.
Reedy?
Here.
Clay is excused. Camisso?
Here.
Demalowitz? He's here. Ray Joyce?
Here.
Lakakis?
Here.
Bergdorf?
Here.
And Grimm?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin here, and we will start with our minutes.
Yes, approving the previous meeting minutes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Second.
I got a motion from
Me.
Ms. Lakakis. I got a second from Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
There is an item 12 that has been added to Granicus, and there is material down with the agendas. This is amending the 2024 district attorney budget for a salary increase. I believe the district attorney is here this evening.
Okay. All right, so we'll hear from the district attorney's office.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yep, number 12.
First and foremost, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you this evening. I am here with Chris Warren and Mr. Mike Connors. The purpose of our attendance here today is to request an RLA in an effort to move funding within the 2024 and the 2025 budget to increase the salaries of the Criminal Investigation Unit as a result of a decision and award from the State of New York Public Relations Board Interest Arbitration Panel. We have submitted, this is we've been asked to scrape our accounts in order to make the process a neutral process on the budget. We have done that. My apologies, I believe we have circulated the appropriations portion of our request to reflect zero impact on the county. And this was similarly done back in September of 2021, when once again we had to seek arbitration for relief with respect to our investigation.
Mr. Connors, doing well. Mr. Reed, good to see you. Thank you.
Are there any questions from any members of the Audit and Finance Committee? Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just need to be clear. What kind of decision would say you've got to give everybody in the unit a raise? Was there a charge that they weren't getting enough for some reason, and isn't that up to you?
No, the investigators in the office are members of the Teamsters. Yes, they're a collective bargaining unit. I believe Albany County settled contracts with 18 out of the 19 collective bargaining units, and only one collective bargaining unit had to go to arbitration. It's the same thing that happened the last time their contract had expired with the county back in 2021.
All right, so they went to arbitration and they were awarded $5,000 more, it looks like.
Correct.
Based on the arbitration, you don't have any authority over it.
No authority. I have, it's a contract that is between that collective bargaining unit and the county.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions from any? Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Demalowitz. I got a second from Mr. Camisto. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. This guy?
Item 2 is amending the rules and regulations for Albany County employees regarding health insurance benefits for retirees. That is tabled at request of sponsor. Item 3 and 4 are also tabled at request of sponsor. Item 5 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Department of State regarding the New York Swims Lifeguard Grant Program. I believe Mr. Jana is here today.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and distinguished members of the legislature. My name is Bakary Janneh. I'm the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation for Albany County. So tonight I'm here to present you with an exciting opportunity to promote aquatic safety by allowing Parks and Recreation to apply for the New York State SWIMS grant. And the purpose of this grant is to certify or recertify 100 lifeguards in this county. So I'll hold up any questions that you have.
How much is this? 50,000. Oh, 50,000. So you said it's 100. It's for 100 lifeguards.
But the goal is to reach 100.
Oh, the goal is to
desire
reach.
to exceed that goal.
And can you just tell how we're going to interact with the municipalities? You know, as far as is this something we don't have a county swimming pool, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we look at various locations such as Voorheesville, Albany High School, and Rabina High School to use their swimming pools. And so we're using their pools to access. We have our own trained lifeguards who are actually who went through the certification course to be instructors to certify or recertify those interested in becoming lifeguards.
So I understand that you've heard from some municipalities.
We've reached out to municipalities asking them if this is something that they would take part in, they could benefit from, and they've presented us back with ideas and recommendations.
Ms. Bergdorf?
Just an informational question. Bach, I didn't know that you were the new commissioner. How long have you been commissioner?
I've been commissioner, I think now it's been a total of approximately, 3 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks?
3.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, congratulations.
Officially, yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So I look forward to, if you have any questions, look forward to assisting and working with everybody here in Albany County.
Okay, Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, you say lifeguards. There's a real lifeguard shortage all over the place. So I'm sure you're aware of that. What strategy they have to locate lifeguards or to train them in order to so the kids can swim in the pools?
Well, the strategy for locating is working with our municipalities, asking them if they have anybody interested in that, working with pools, beaches, various swimming areas that have the need, and so they can publicize that way, putting it out to news outlets, newspapers, letting them know that they can reach out to us, and then also through the recertification program about that. They give us a list of people who are coming up for recertification, and we can reach out to them to apply.
Oh, okay, that's good. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And so I'll let you know, we've been running this program. So last year, I think we had around 70 lifeguards certified. We've increased that this year. We've completed right now 93 certifications. People who are now in the community as lifeguards and can be employed at various pools, either private or public, going out to meet the need.
Mr. Demolowitz?
Yeah, how old do you have to be a lifeguard?
I believe it's 17.
17.
So, yeah.
Because when I was 14, I got my lifeguard merit badge, but that didn't count the same.
But because of the shortage, and there's an extreme shortage that everybody is experiencing, and this is something that can save lives. It also gives people access in the summertime, as the heat waves that we've had, gives them access for relief. So this is something not just the young, but individuals who are of an older age.
No, I think it's great. I mean, Hampton Beach every morning in New Hampshire, they got 50 lifeguards there, and they all, 9 o'clock, they go out, they make their run, they jump in the water, the only guys in the water, it's so cold, and they swim a mile, they come back and they run back again, and then they go to their post every morning.
Yeah, that's good.
They're in shape.
Ask them if they know anybody who likes to join our program.
Okay, Mr. Cactus?
If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion.
I got a motion from Mr. Cactus, I got a second from Mr. Camiso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, and congratulations. And I just realized this is your first committee week.
This is my first official committee week. I appreciate that it went so well, and I will remember this moment for a very long time.
Well,
No, we can be talking the next year.
Oh, no, you guys can stay just
We'll
like this.
be talking about you for a very long time.
Yeah, right. Just remember, you guys are saving lives, so we're doing a good job.
that's right.
All right, take care.
Good luck to you.
You never know.
Great to see you.
You too, appreciate it.
Yeah, oh, I got it, excuse me. I could, didn't you?
Yeah, I did
And
make a
I
motion.
said, and then I got a second from him.
Mr. Cooper,
Oh,
we all in
Never
favor?
mind. It's me.
Okay, good.
Getting a text
No,
from
I got
another
it.
legislator. Sorry.
So we're gonna do that.
Number 6. Item 6 is authorizing a correction to the tax roll for the cities of Albany and Cohoes.
So, Madam Chair, this is a correction. The Albany County Land Bank has submitted 3 applications for corrected tax rolls for all for 2024 property tax bills. Because of the way the laws surrounding the land bank are structured, they're exempt upon acquisition. So this is simply to correct and reissue corrected tax bills, and all the information, the numbers on each property are in the backup.
Now, any questions? I got a motion from Mr. Camiso, got a second from Mr. Cactus. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 7 is making a secret determination and authorizing the purchase of parcels of real property in the city of Albany and amending the 2024 Albany County budget. Our Director Lally is, yes, Director Lally, again.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening, legislators. Happy to be here tonight. I have a few property purchases and secret determinations before you tonight. The first one is for 89 to 97 Beaver Street, what you probably know as Ama Labella. So as you know, Ama Labella has been vacant since the onset of COVID. We have been negotiating with the property owners and come to an agreed amount of $75,000 as well as $375,000, as well as satisfying all delinquent taxes. This property is a valuable property considering its proximity to the convention center, Albany County's buildings officially, as well as the MVP arena. So the intent is to preserve it from blight as it hasn't been occupied during all this time. Additionally, the MVP arena uses the parking lot for a number of events. When WWE comes to town, it's for the communications truck as well as the tour buses. Bob Belber pays Ama Labella, the executor of the estate, currently to use that property. So this would be a savings for him as well as for other opportunities he can use that parking lot. If you have any questions, there are currently no plans to demo the building. That's reflected in the seeker. This is just for the property acquisition. So if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Mike, what do you have to do to stabilize the building to keep it from deteriorating?
We'll have an engineering report once we take ownership of the building to see what has to be done on the inside, or if it's determined that it has to be torn down.
Or, it could be exterior, it could be roofing, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to do that after we procure it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jamal.
So how did you come up on the 375,000? If they had no engineer or nobody look at it, I mean, how do you know what kind of shape the building's in?
So we had an assessment of the property done externally a few years ago. That coupled with the asking price of $900,000.
Doing the next 20 million, you're not going to get it.
Right, I understand. No, we had some negotiations. They were very strict on it, and 375 is what we settled on.
Who did the evaluation for us?
I can find out for you. I believe it was done in 2021.
And they said the building was stable, everything.
Well, it was just an assessment at that time, sir.
So we're spending $375,000 for a building, we don't know what it's like, what it's worth.
Well, we're
Well, we're
spending
more concerned with the
$375,000 for
property.
the land.
What's that?
We're more concerned with the property, legislator. While the building does have value, of course, it is because the property right there has such value.
Yeah,
to
but
the
you said you're
county.
not going to tear it down.
Well, we're going to investigate and see if we have to tear it down. It's a possibility.
Well, why would we buy a building if we don't know what we're doing? If you're not going to tear it down,
Well,
that's one thing. Then you're going to have, you have a lot that you paid $375,000 for.
correct.
To me, I think that's a lot of money for around this area down here for a lot. You know what size the lot is?
Yes.
Is it in there? I mean, I just don't, if I was using my money, I'd look a lot closer at it than buying a pig in a poke.
So it looks like the total acreage is 2.3 acres.
What's the
I'm sorry, 0.23 acres.
0.23 acres.
Yes.
It's not even a quarter acre.
Small. So it's
not even a
Big
quarter
enough
acre.
for a communications truck.
Thank you.
Okay, so can I just ask a question? Okay, so I think the land down here is worth money. And I could be wrong because Gary's smarter than I am. But I just, if there's any way that you could kind of like answer, what he's saying. I also see the value of having the building along with the land, since it's, together, okay? And so that footprint would make it even more valuable, okay? And so you said it's 0.23 acres?
Correct.
Okay, so what is the value of property down here?
In what regard, ma'am?
Oh, I got my hair. What is that?
He said in what regard?
Okay. In the regard, if I want to buy if I want to buy some property down here, whether it's a building or a lot, what's the rate? We must appraise something at some kind of...
Right, so we did have the assessment that was done on the property, which I referenced. I apologize, I should have had that with me. But I can give that to you after this. That'll show you exactly what it was appraised at.
Yeah.
The building, not necessarily the lot.
I mean, I'm just trying to ensure that Mr. Demolowitz has, get some, kind of response to his question, that's all. And it just made me think about something that I would have never thought about anyway, but he did, so. But anyway, okay, all right. Any other questions? If not, can I have a motion? We got a motion from Mr. Camiso. We got a second from Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, unanimous.
Item 8 is making a secret determination and authorizing the purchase of a parcel of real property located at 52 Howard Street in the city of Albany and amending the 2024 Albany County budget.
Thank you. So this is the second property. The one that you're going to see if you look out the window is the parking garage that used to be used by the county. It's a small parking garage on the corner of Howard and Wendell. So we are requesting that we are able to purchase that property for a sum of $235,000. An engineering report was requested by Collier's Engineering. This references that the engineering report was not done at the time. However, we did receive it last week after submitting the RLA. The engineering report recommends that the structure is torn down. Our proposal is that the structure, of course, is torn down and then replaced with the surface lot. The surface lot, as you know, parking is valuable downtown, and as many of you see from walking into the back of the building every day, our employees that are in weights and measures, our case workers, our adult protective services have difficulty parking and getting into the building. So those specific employees would be able to have parking up there for their vehicles. That's the purpose of this request right now.
Who are we buying this from? Who are we buying it from?
I know that Caro Associates is representing them. They are the realtor.
It's an LLC of the city.
Yeah.
Mr. Camiso.
And this property does abut the previous property that we just passed?
So it does not. There is a small strip of land between the PBA, that's owned by the PBA building.
Yep.
And that separates the two.
But
Maybe if that was included, that would be nice, but right now, that's not being proposed.
okay.
That's interesting.
Does that land have any benefit to the PBA building? Is it a driveway?
So I
Is
believe a
it?
few years ago, when the PBA got a little bit lighter in how many people showed up to work, they stopped using that building. That building is for sale right now.
Okay. But is that strip an asset or a landlocked chunk of land that has no value?
So it would have value to these two properties as it would connect the two. The strip does have value to the PBA because they currently use it as parking. I can show you, I'll highlight it.
Well, no, I'm just curious, is it an ingress and egress point for the back of the
Yes,
building?
Can we buy it?
that strip has access to Wendell, which is that very
Okay.
elevated
All
strip.
right. That's why it may have value to the building owner.
Okay, so if there's no further
It can add
questions,
value to our property too.
can I get a motion? I got a motion from Mr. Cactus and I got a second from Mr. Camiso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 9 is making a secret determination and authorizing the purchase of parcels of real property in the town of Bethlehem and amending the 2024 Albany County budget.
Right. Last property purchase. This one is for property on 42 9W. We are requesting to purchase the property for a price of up to $1.1 million. There are 3 parcels for sale. The county is interested in 2. The property would be developed into a regional fire tower. And with me is Chief Harris, who can speak a little bit more to the vision of what that fire tower will be.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come. So, through everything that you folks have done and helped us on the fire side of the shop with the Bethlehem, the Colony, the Guilderland, and the Hilltowns, those projects, the Hilltown project is done. The Guilderland project is probably 80% done. That tower will be open by the end of September at the very latest. Colony's knee walls were poured yesterday for a new 3-story facility there. This facility, the vision that we have for this facility on Route 9W is a public safety center. So just not for use for fire, but police, fire, EMS. The other thing that we're looking to be able to do with this site is develop it in with the towers, but there's also an existing just under 13,000 square foot building on the center there to develop into classrooms and indoor training areas that will complement the site as a whole. The other thing that's nice about this site, it's right off of the thruway, right off of 787, and there's 3 local hotels that are right there in the 9W corridor. The envision that I foresee to have is to make this a regional facility where if we build it, they will come. And what I mean by coming is bring outsiders in from around the area to come here to do specific training, because the only other place to do specific training that has a center that's anything like what we want to build is Oriskany, which is out near Rome, New York. So what we're looking to do is build this facility, run all of our state fire training classes, which the county runs, on the average of 3,200 instructor hours a year, which will equivalent to 60,000 man-hours of student hours just on the fire side of the shop. So with this, everything new, state-of-the-art, this also helps us on the sheriff's side of the shop that we want to put an EVOC course in there. We want to be able to take the backside of this facility that drops off into the Normanskill and be able to use that for our SRT training, our repelling training, etc. down in the back. This facility, once up and running, should bring funds back into the county at that facility, because we plan on charging for certain usages at the facility on top of hotel rooms, meals, lodgings, by bringing people into Albany County. What we're looking to be able to do is take Albany County and put it on the map as far as some type of specialty in the fire service world of what we can do. The example would be lithium-ion battery fires. There's no place in the state that is specific to come learn what that's about. I'm sure most of you have watched, seen it in TV, read it on the lithium-ion battery fires that we are having, and the education process that needs to go above and beyond of what we're already doing. This is evolving. So with the other thing that we're also looking to do, for those of you that may know or may not know, there is a proposed OSHA change standard for the fire service countrywide. It's the 1910-156 Fire Brigade standard. If this standard passes the OSHA, it will be devastating to the volunteer fire service. We in Albany County, we have already taken steps to have in place if certain sections of this 1910-156 changes, which is a 40-year backlog. The last time this was updated was 40 years ago. They're trying to take 40 years of change in the fire service and put it all on the fire service in a 27-month period. So we don't know where that's going to end up, but this will also give us the facility to train those firefighters. Right now, Albany County leads the state of New York. We're number 3 in the state for outreach fire training delivered by counties statewide. So that's within the exception of the 5 boroughs of New York. So Albany County is rated number 3. When I first took over as fire coordinator in this county, our state outreach fire training hours were 1,200 hours a year is what we were allowed. 1,200 hours doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot of 3-hour nights for an instructor because that's basically how they work. Where we are right now for training, we were allotted for the 24-25 budget 3,250 hours. So we've almost tripled the amount of state fire training hours that occur in this county. And I honestly believe in my heart and what I see is we have some of the damn best firefighters in the state of New York that are trained right here in Albany County.
Ms. Lakakis?
2 things. One, it would be great for you to sometimes give us a map so we know exactly where you're speaking of. And are there any environmental ramifications about the proposal that would impact negatively or positively the neighborhood community? I mean, I imagine you'll have to take the trees down, and is that a part of the plan?
Right, so for the phase 1 environmental that we did right now, that's just a purchase because we are currently bidding out an environmental as well as an engineering report to see, just to make sure, it's nice and Norman scale, can it be built there? We're going to do core sampling to make sure that it can hold the pads, hold the structures. That will be coming, and we will return to the legislature to proceed with those actions as well as any additional secret requirements that are needed. I believe there should be a map in some of the secret documentation, but if not, I will make sure to get that to you.
Thanks.
The site is roughly 9 acres is what we basically have to work with, which is a good size.
I think I know where you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's the old Roberts Tunnel, right there on IW.
All right.
Mr. Demolowitz?
Thank you. That's good stuff. Is there any state funding for this? When I start to hear regionalization, my hair goes up on the back of my head. Because the Albany County taxpayers, should be funding these things for people in Rome or Westchester County or Orange County. I understand you hope to recoup some funding for that, but this project is going to be millions and millions of, that's going to be a big project.
Yes, sir.
And there's got to be, I would think, some kind of state funding for this.
So the state of New York just had a grant period up to $1 million for fire training center to be constructed. So it was up to $1 million for a structure, $500,000 for infrastructure. The grant period has already gone, and passed in reference to that. There are other grants that are out there that
So we missed that
yes,
because we didn't know this was coming forward at the time?
that's correct.
There are other opportunities as legislator. SAM grants are available. They're available for any municipally owned project, especially with infrastructure. We use them in the past for things like the rail trail, for example. We would be open to be able to get those from state delegation, whether that's senators or assembly members. Additionally, we are looking at securing some funding from some of the larger municipalities who would be using this site more regularly in lieu of some of the other sites that they're going to. So that wouldn't be just one-hit payments, but it would be annual revenue that would be
Albany
coming.
is already using Colony.
Correct. Albany uses Colony and Bethlehem.
Yeah. So,
But this would be more advantageous for the city of Albany to use. It's right there. The other thing is, just to address your question in reference to grants, the Colony Fire Municipal Training Center through 2016 to this year, we were able to get $650,000 worth of SAM grant money just for that facility, which doesn't really scratch the surface on the amount of man hours that Colony has used.
this project here,
We need to go after
the
it.
project I'm concerned about.
Right,
Because you're
right.
looking at millions and millions of dollars of investment. And we're already invested heavily in fire services in Gilbert and Bethlehem, and all these new services all these new towers that we're building, which I support, I think it's great.
Yes, sir.
But Now we're looking
Sam
at doing
grants-
something regionally, when we already have all these regional facilities already here.
And the SAM grants they are reoccurring each year, so we'll have an opportunity for them next year. Additionally, there's state homeland security money, which is available. I believe that came before maybe this body or a different body. We were awarded $950,000 for that. A portion of that for the next year, when we apply for it, could be used for this.
So you
there
got
are,
950,000 coming from the state towards this.
no, $950,000 is an example of some of the funding that comes in annually to the county. So we can go after plenty of grants. I'm just highlighting that there's a lot of opportunity to seek reimbursement from the state as well as the federal government for this. Sir.
Okay. Mr. Bergdorf?
Yes, sir.
Mike, I'd like to just follow up on this a little bit. So I'm looking at your appropriations and your estimated revenue, and it looks like, and Dave, you're taking $1.1 million out of interest and investments?
I'm
That's how
actually
you-
adding $1 million to interest and investments because I'm predicting that we will come in far over budget this year.
On interest and, okay. So, but,
So it's to line the revenue up with reality because
okay,
rates we're going to go.
where is the money coming from, this $1.1 million? Where in the budget?
It's being added to both the interest, the income line and the appropriation line. The appropriation line will be housed in economic development.
Okay, so we're in essence increasing the budget $1.1 million
Yes.
by unanticipated revenues
Yeah, my prediction-
from the interest on
My prediction said
line.
they'd raise-
Okay, so we're making this investment without backfilling revenue, we're just using
Correct.
existing revenue that's there. Okay, now, has this been also approved in the capital plan?
This was not anticipated for the capital plan.
This will be put into the capital plan before the projects are done. Yeah, but this is the first step of several here.
Okay.
It
So-
will be included as.
But this is just the land acquisition?
Yes, this is just the land acquisition.
Is there, as we're sitting here today, I mean, I'm hearing about this for the first time, sort of a super, or it's like Zone 2 for the cops, it's a regional training facility. This is both police and fire training?
Police, fire, and EMS.
EMS. Okay, so we're talking about a very large operation. Can you tell us anything about how big this is, what kind of magnitude of construction there is, and how we're going to fit this in our budget and make sure that it's a break-even proposition, that we're getting, if we build it and they come, and if they come from St. Lawrence County or Putnam County or whatever, how are we going to know what we have to charge in order to break even and amortize this place?
Okay.
I'm sorry, but this
Okay, that's great. This
is
what we're gonna-
huge.
Yes, it is. This is what we're going to do. We're going to ask you for a report based upon some of the things that Mr. Bergdorf has put forward, and I'm not expecting you to have all of that right at your fingertips, all right? So if you would make sure that you would address some of the questions that Mr. Demolowitz has had and Mr. Bergdorf has, just put it in a small report. Yeah, well, might be a big report. And just make sure that we all get it. And,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Do I?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thanks. 1.1 million is all county money. But what's the total cost of the project, do you know?
So some estimates that we have that Chief Barris has.
I don't need to look, I have it in my head.
I'm feeling about this place.
You're okay. So basically, we're looking at 1.1 million tops to purchase the property. Then I'm
That'll be
going,
paid by this county grant.
correct.
And you know what? I want that included in the report.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Okay?
just asked, Ben, does Bethlehem kick in? Because, in Gittleton, it took us a while to raise all the money for the tower. Does the town of Bethlehem kick in any money for this?
So may I answer, madam?
Yes, but I want it all in the report.
No, I'll make sure it's,
Okay.
just asking permission if I may
Okay.
answer the question. So we, as the county of Albany, we try to do a partnership with the town of Bethlehem to put money in their current existing fire training center that is located in a residential neighborhood. The Bethlehem departments pushed back on funding that we wanted to allocate for their fire training center. Basically telling us as the county on how the money will be spent, when the money will be spent, and where the money will be spent.
So did they put any money in?
No.
Okay. All right.
But
I've got an issue with that, but thank you.
Okay, all right. Are there any more questions from any members? If not, can I get a motion? I got a motion from Mr. Commissioner, I got a second from Mr. Reedy here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. And just
Thank you,
keep in
folks.
mind that, the request, okay? I appreciate it very much. And thank you for your report on this. It was quite extensive and but also very,
thank you for everything you do for us. So thank you, folks.
All right, item 10 is amending resolution number 140 for 2024 regarding New York State Homes and Community Renewal Community Development Block Grant, CARES Act funding. Land Bank Director Sean McGuire is here this morning.
Good evening. Good to see many of you. The Land Bank is wrapping up the paperwork, really, on this Homes and Community Renewal Grant. So we just need a no-cost time extension to finish things up in the state.
okay. All right. Now, could you just repeat that? I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. We're just requesting a no-cost time extension to be able to wrap up the closeout steps for the HCR grant that was used to rehabilitate 48 and 52nd Avenue.
And this is all federal dollars?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen this before. Any comments or questions? Mr. Grimm?
Oh, absolutely, Madam Chair. This is, you weren't here, but this is the infamous $1 million rehab, is it not?
It is an expensive rehab. They were not difficult, they were not easy buildings to get back to the condition they are today.
So have we rehabbed the buildings already?
Yes, we've rehabbed the buildings.
How did we do that without the money?
The land, so we paid with the money that we have on hand to get the work done, and then we go back and we do reimbursements for the work.
The big controversy was, it was $1 million rehab of a house that was expected to sell for $200,000. What is the status of the potential buyers?
Yeah, so the Land Bank Board, that's meeting in July, held a housing lottery, and they have selected the primary buyers at the asking price. And then there's also first and second alternate buyers in case the initially selected buyer fails to complete the transaction.
So have we fixed the problem? Are we still spending $1 million on a house that's going to be bought for $200,000? It was called the luckiest building in Albany. Or are we going to get more than $200,000? Tell me this.
No, we'll get $150,000 for one, $200,000 for the other. These are homes that were built in 1890 and 1900. I would think that after 100 years, all of us need a little bit more work.
Not that kind of work.
That, I don't understand why you've got the luckiest building in Albany, but you only have a couple of buyers. I don't understand that.
Because in order to be able to do this, we had to income qualify folks. So these are affordable homes meant to go to people who do not exceed affordable income levels, depending on the number of people that live in the household.
And so,
That's our government
I just want to make sure, it's my understanding that the county has not put any money in this, is that correct?
But yeah, I believe that's
Okay,
correct.
so this is all federal money, and this is, how you decide to do it, you just have to come through us, it's passed through to get this money so you can get your money back.
That's right.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
I'd just like to ask one question.
okay.
How many people actually put in proposals to buy this?
So-
The 2 units?
Sure. Let me get my notes. I don't know how many qualify, but I can tell you exactly who or how many were involved there. I'll say 48 2nd Avenue, we had owned or we had received Back in 2018, to give you some sense, up until we did the rehab, we had, I think, about 7 applications come in that never could get across the finish line. So this building had sat there. When we got to 48 2nd Avenue, we ended up with 4 applicants. We were able to qualify 3, and that's where we selected 1 during the lottery with the first and second alternate. On 52nd Avenue, again, we had 4 applicants. 2 were qualified in advance, and we selected 1 applicant, and then the backup, the alternate buyer.
Is that a respectable amount of proposals? It would strike me that if you could buy in essence, something that somebody put $500,000 into for $150,000, there would be a tremendous amount of interest. How do you promote that so that the general public knows? I mean, if you're talking about 3 and 4, that's seven people proposing. It doesn't seem like it's for something that could be a life-changing circumstance. It doesn't seem like a lot of folks.
Sure, thank you for that. I think you look at this and there's a
Can I
bit
just say something?
Oh, yes.
Okay, before we dissect this, okay, again, for maybe the 4th or 5th time, I just have a question. Have you, have the people already, do they own this property already? They do.
They do not, no. So
They
we
do
still
not.
have to finish the closing on this.
Everyone's closing.
Right.
So we're
And
talking
you've
about
got- yeah, bought a house before, you know.
3 pieces of property or 4?
2 pieces of property.
Two pieces of property, okay? And so they're closing on it, and right now, we're just trying to get the land bank its money.
Right, in order to just get to the closeout of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to extend the time.
And so that's why you're here today.
Yep. The
Yeah.
money has been spent, the
Okay.
work is done.
And I really don't want to dissect this again, because it raises some real dire issues. Your opinion versus mine, and versus, Carolyn McLaughlin, and the people in that community, of the years of just neglect as far as that area is concerned, okay? Had the opportunity to take this funding, and they used it as they saw fit, and now, with all the other redevelopment going on in the city of Albany, right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's time to let this go. Because they're done, and it's over, and the land bank needs to get its money back. But to continue to insinuate that 2nd Avenue or South End does not deserve the money that has been spent, it has become an insulting point and perspective of certain people. Okay? And so we've gone through this, we've done it on the floor. So I really would like to just get what we came here for, to get this money for the land bank, and that's what this resolution is about right now. We're not spending a dime of county money. Can I please have a motion?
You have one.
I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, and I got a second from Ms. McCackers.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a second from Mr.
But
Burgess.
I'd like to say something.
All those in favor, we just say, oh, aye. Opposed? No.
I'm supporting.
Okay, so,
it.
Mr. Burgess, I'm supporting.
Madam Chair, please don't think that if we ask someone how many people had an opportunity to build on this, that is critical of the location or the project. I would like to have seen 50 people from that neighborhood have an opportunity to bid on it. And that was the purpose of my comments. It was not to criticize the project, but hopefully, because we spent this money and there was something to be gained, that more people than 7 would seek to gain it. And perhaps the land bank could factor that into however it is they make it known that there's this big lottery that has potentially life-changing benefits if you're chosen. And that was the purpose of my comment. So I just want you to be aware that It was not negative at all.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bergdorf. So,
The horse is
thank you
still
very
dead.
much.
All right, item 11, which was added after and is in Granicus and in the paperwork over there, is authorizing an agreement with Empire State Development regarding Restore New York Communities Initiative funding and amending the 2024 Department of Economic Development, Conservation, and Planning budget. Luke Rogers is here.
Good evening. Thank you, members of the committee. As I'm sure you most likely have heard, we were successful in our application for $10 million in Restore New York funding from Empire State Development for the demolition of the central warehouse. The request tonight is both to accept those funds through the county, as we do with any grant, and in this case, also to authorize a transfer to the Alliance, which is essentially where we are combining all of the different funding streams that we have secured for this project with the entity that's in a position to oversee the implementation. So obviously this is a big win, a high-profile project, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is strictly about the accepting of the grant.
I just have a question, just an observation. This funding and project really should have been in the Economic Development Committee, or at least the Economic Development Committee at some point should look at this. I know it's too late now because we got to move on the grant and the development of the central warehouse, which we're all happy to see, but in the future, I hope that the Economic Development Committee starts seeing these projects and these economic development projects that are going on,
Okay.
to get that committee some action.
No, I understand. I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yes, Mr. Joyce?
Look, do we know the total cost of the demo?
It's estimated based on bids to be between 12.5 and 13 million. We've secured at this point over 13 million in funding. Of course, it's always good to have contingency, so we have some additional funding built in. But it is being, the final sort of refinement, but it is between 12.5 and 13. So, fully funded as we speak today.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Luke, when's the wrecking ball on the asbestos mitigation start?
As soon as we can execute contracts, which is as soon as we can, as soon as possible. So yesterday, in a matter of speaking, but we're finalizing contracts between all of the different parties to allow them to start abatement as quickly as possible so that that can be completed before winter and demolition can then begin.
So we hope to late summer be in the ground on the site. Is that legit?
Of this, yeah, to begin, absolutely. Yeah, I would say within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Mr. Camiso?
Yes, does this eliminate any previous bidders to that site? Or do they come into play on the back end?
We will, at the end of the demolition, the property will be returned to either the county or the Alliance to basically facilitate next steps at the parcel. It's a little bit premature to talk about what that redevelopment will look like for a few reasons, but there are a lot of opportunities based on the size of the parcel, based on its location, sort of at the crossroads of Warehouse District, Arbor Hill, downtown, and of course the waterfront. So we're optimistic that that was part of the deal, was that it had to come back to the county. That's going to be written into everything. And as we get closer to that point, we'll begin to discuss what happens.
And there's no reimbursement of funds to those people who were previously involved?
There's no. This will be, are you talking about going way back, or the current property owner, or?
Current property owner.
So we are working with the current property owner as part of this project. So they were part of the pivot from the proposed rehabilitation, which was not viable, to the demolition.
Well,
so
they're not benefiting financially from the project. It's dollars in, dollars out as far as the budget.
dollars in, dollars out, their proposal talked about a $1 million cost to take that building down, as I recall. Now,
You talk about different, obviously there have been many owners over the years.
I'm talking about the present owner.
Is that Redburn?
Yeah.
So they proposed initially, when they acquired the property, to rehabilitate the property. It was not intended to be a demolition, it was intended to be a mixed-use redevelopment. That's what they were initially provided state funding for. It was when they acquired the property and went further into their structural analysis, and it was determined that, combined with where we were in terms of interest rates, all of those things combined to make the rehabilitation infeasible, which is when we all pivoted to demolition is really the only option to address the most prominent eyesore in the county.
I guess maybe I'm not clear on it. I do not want to help somebody who bid their property, they were successful, and they can't put it together. Okay? That money is lost. As far as me being an investor in property, in real estate, I just lost that money. Okay? Now, we're opening the door because there's $12 million that the county, through the federal government, 10 million through the federal government, is gone out and basically put the grant together and everything. Not for Redburn. As far as I'm concerned, Redburn's out of the picture. They should have no right to that building whatsoever.
I think we're saying the same thing. So post-demo, they're returning the property to us for $0.
Yeah, and not coming back into play on the back end.
So Redburn's out.
Exactly.
Out.
Sorry if it was confusing, all I was saying is they are part of this demo process, but post-demo, count.
Gotcha. What's the footprint of that building?
About an acre.
All right, Mr. Drake.
Madam Chair, thanks. You said it's 13 million for the demolition. Where's the 3 million coming from on top of the 10?
That was the ARPA funds that the legislature approved in June.
Okay, that's part of a grant.
So
At the end, at 13 million, after the demolition, just be, all the asbestos, all that stuff will be gone. It's just an empty lot of land. And the question is for you folks is what to do with that. And you haven't really, you don't know what that answer is yet.
There are obviously a number of things that have been discussed publicly. It's just at this phase in the project, for a variety of reasons, we have to focus on the demo. But before too long, we'll be able to transition to what comes after.
And it's a contingent on money, what kind of money you get, grant money, that kind of, a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come up with a process to what's the best use for the site, how can it benefit the county and surrounding us.
Okay, Ms. Makakis and then Mr. Demonovich.
Does the demolition of the building include removing anything else on the property, like just train tracks and poles and has all that?
The tracks, obviously, that's a critical Amtrak and other tracks, so that, of course, will remain. Everything else removed, recycled, as close to the blank slate as it can be.
Have we factored in any credits for recycling that building?
So it will be recycled as part of the proposal, and I'd have to look into how the financing of that, I know it's part of the bid, whether they're getting credits back. I assume it's in their interest to do so if they're available, but I will check.
Well, the Tobin building, I mean.
Are you talking about brownfield rehabilitation?
Well, I'm talking about the building itself. That building is probably 95% cement. We're grinding cement now and reusing it.
Well, and that,
roads, buildings and stuff. So there's companies that buy that.
That is happening, and that actually drives down the cost. So the alternative.
Do we know what that cost is?
Of the recycling?
Yeah.
I have that, so I can get that. Yeah. It is significantly cheaper than landfilling, which is the alternative.
Yeah. Absolutely, but there's, I mean, no one's even thinking about landfill anymore anyway, everything's recycled.
As long as
The
they-
whole building's recycled.
As long as they can clean it, absolutely.
What's that?
As long, after they clean it, yeah.
I'd like to know what kind of funds we're gonna get recycling that building.
That's part of the bid, so it's not that we're getting money back, but.
Yeah, I think who we're gonna blow it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Take a motion.
I'll make them.
I just want to say something. I'm trying to say this in a minute. That's in my district. And I couldn't be more happy about that building coming down. I mean, I watched and brought many people into the community in Ghana 07, 87, and the first thing they say is, "What is that?" Okay? And now to actually see that company, Redburn, to finally, take it, okay, make some decisions on it and actually stick with it until they came up with a solution. As for me, and having, if any of you have not been in that building, it's daunting, okay? I was only able to last maybe going in and had to turn around and come out. Although the number of children, teenagers and all that have been through that building is amazing. And so I just want to say, I'm really happy that somebody stuck with this, that we're finally going to have something that's going to benefit the whole city of Albany, because it stood like the Statue of Liberty. Oh, this is what we look like in Albany, okay? And so,
First thing is,
As an economic development project, it's a good project. But
Yes,
I think
it's
as
a
what it
great project.
represents,
and
it's.
so I just want you to know, I appreciate it, and the people in North Albany appreciate it even more, so, thank you.
Sell tickets, make a lot of money. Give the helicopter to
It's a symbol, and it's changed.
you need a motion then?
Okay, I need a motion. I got a motion from Mr. Devalowitz, I got a second from Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Motion to adjourn?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are no other items. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion. All those in favor? Aye.
It must be like the tone of my voice she doesn't hear. Selective here.